So I'll go ahead at 6 o'clock. I'll go ahead and open up the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we could. I'll stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need first the approval of the agenda. Any additions, deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, Russ. We really don't need a second for small boards, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to overcome that. Any comment or discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Teacher, staff, community comments. Anyone want to address the board on anything? And just raise your hand or speak up if you're on the phone. I notice we do have a couple on the phone. Okay, Tina's here. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go on with finance. I know we've got some printouts. Is Louis on board?
Louis is not with us. I can text him if you need him.
I don't think so. Has anybody got any questions on the financial printouts that you received in your packet?
I think I did, but I have to find it again.
Okay,
I actually had a couple.
okay.
There was one for athletics technology. Is that the scoreboard?
Where are you looking, if I could, Jeff?
It's on the third sheet. The second sheet, actually. It's athletics technology. Athletic tech supplies, 1,998.
Oh, I see it now.
It's from Amazon.
Okay.
Is that the scoreboard for the building, or?
Mike, I think I saw Mike Roll signed in.
Yep.
Yes, that I believe was for the camera that we use to do all of our live video streaming for our basketball that we own as a school.
Awesome.
Okay. I just was wondering what that was.
Yep, we own the camera now, so we can do all kinds of live streaming events at school.
And
Thank you, Mike.
that can be used for other events. Is that what you just said, Mike?
Any event we have at school that you want to go live, we have the capability to do that now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And then the other one was the playground supplies.
Yes.
Is that the new playground for the little kids? Is that what that is?
Sarah, are you aware which one it is?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Thank you,
Okay.
Deb.
All right. That's the only questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina, did you find it? We can't hear you. I see your lips moving.
I was saying yes, but I was trying to find the window where I could unmute myself. There's so many windows open. I miss having that physical paper in front of me because it makes it a lot easier. But I just had a quick question on the expenditures. The SU assessment, is that just Rutland Town's expenditures, or is that for SU as a whole, like our share of it?
It would be, usually it's partially our share of things, but if there's anything specific to Rutland Town, then that would be included in it.
I was just curious that we were 30,000 over budget for the repair and maintenance, it looks like. And I was just, is that just due to COVID things?
Yes. Yeah, mostly the stuff that we needed to do for COVID. Yep.
Okay. I
Now,
figured.
I don't know, we don't have Lewis on, but is that something with the money we get from the feds that we could, or state that we could charge off? That's probably a Lewis question.
Lynette, I
Yes.
do believe that was the plan. But Lewis, I texted him out, waiting to hear back from him to confirm that.
Okay.
I think that was all my question.
Okay. I know most of the COVID stuff Lewis has been trying to track and throughout the supervisory union and get us reimbursement from either the federal or the state. I think there's a couple different funds that we try to get reimbursed from.
Actually, I had just a general question. When does the fiscal year change over? Is it between June 30th and July 1st?
Right. July 1st, the new one starts.
Because we still are supposed to get a lot of money from the state. Do they, like, is that still expected?
It is still expected. Sometimes the year's even closed before we actually receive it. But they're updated. Usually what is in there and what is expected is what we'll get. I can't remember ever being really greatly surprised on that portion of not getting the money we expect. That's usually we receive it, but the state's the state. We get it when we get it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chris, we can move on if you want, and then if Lewis pops in, we'll just ask him that for sure.
Okay, I know he's at a baseball game for his kid tonight, so.
Okay, well, it really doesn't matter. We can get back. I know he's really on top of those things and tries to get our reimbursement as much as he can. So I'm sure he's on top of it. But if he does pop in.
Sure. And if he doesn't pop in, Tina, I'll make sure he can email you a response as well for that, okay?
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Everyone got copies of director's orders, warrants in their emails. I did go ahead and approve it. I did have a question just on, it sometimes amazes me, I guess, where our students go to high school. I realize it doesn't matter. They all get the same amount of money, especially the ones that are outside our region. They get the state average, but I was surprised to see we had one that was up near the Canadian border. So I did question that, and I was reassured that that is being double checked, or it has been checked for accuracy. It's hard to keep up with the students. It's easy to look at a student's name and know that they graduated 2 years ago. It's all the new people coming in that we don't recognize the name. So those are the ones that are harder to track, but I know the supervisory union has not been always really, really good, but I've just never seen one up near, I think it was Alberg or something, up near the border. I was a little surprised.
It was Enosburg, Lynette.
Okay. Yeah, that one surprised me. I just had, yeah. God only knows. He could be living with a grandparent and going to high school up there.
Lynn, is there a policy on that we can look at or something to see where we have to pay our tuition to, or is that?
We have to, it's a state law. We have no high school, designated high school, I should say. We don't have one of our own, and we don't have one that is designated.
Right.
So therefore, any high schoolers can go to whatever high school they wish. Religious institutions are still being discussed, but no, they can basically go anywhere, and we have to pay at the state average, and I think that's for most of them, except for the local ones.
So like, sorry, I want to ask this question. So like, if kids go wherever they go, we have to pay whatever that tuition is, or is there one flat rate that we pay for each student?
There's one flat rate that we pay for, as long as the state of Vermont makes sure that they're an accredited high school. So they have, you're right, they have to apply by all rules and regs. And there is a state average the state gives us that they receive.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering that.
You're welcome. Okay, on director's orders, can I have a motion to approve the director's orders warrants?
I make a motion to approve them.
Thank you, Tina. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right?
Thank you. We have the minutes of March 8th. And they were, I don't remember the meeting talking this much, but they're pretty copious. Does anyone see any changes, deletions, additions? I didn't catch any, but.
I didn't see anything.
Me either.
Okay,
On the school, for the school board, mine was a 3-year seat. Was Billy's a 2-year seat or a 3-year seat?
2.
this is a 2.
2-year. Yeah, so there's a typo there.
That was corrected at the bottom, Jeff.
Oh, it was?
I brought that up at the meeting, and if you keep reading down, it was corrected, because I thought that too when I was rereading it,
Yeah, yeah.
and I caught it at the end.
Okay, all right. I missed that line, sorry.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of pages there.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes approval?
Aye.
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 Okay, that'll pass unanimously. Superintendents report.
All right, thanks, Lynette. I have just a few things to kind of go through tonight. So each year, the GRCSU is asked to nominate 2 staff members to be recognized as outstanding teachers in the state of Vermont. Traditionally, this recognition is held as a ceremony at the University of Vermont. It's a nice ceremony, but obviously with COVID this year, they had to shift and move to virtual. I just want to, on behalf of the GRCSU, just congratulate our 2 teachers, Christina Kerber from Poultney High School and Courtney Ellett from Proctor Elementary School. I just want to, I've been saying this at all the board meetings, just congratulate them, and it's a well-deserved honor. So I just want to make mention of that. This past week, we had our last and final COVID-19 surveillance testing. This is the final surveillance testing for us due to large number of educators in the state being vaccinated. And as a result of our test, we had no positive results, which was a good sign. But as I said at every board meeting, it is just a snapshot of that day at that time. It did provide us with some important feedback. So if there are any plans to bring surveillance testing back, we will let you know. But as of right now, they're looking to shift the resources away onto something else. So in addition, as you're all aware, that all GRCSU staff members were eligible to receive their vaccines. The 2 initial dates were March 15th and March 22nd. Those individuals who received their vaccinations on March 15th were scheduled for a second shot. And I know the state had initially promised or told us that they would do their best to try to steer clear of scheduling vaccinations during school day. But I think it was just, whenever they could get the vaccines and just around the timing. The second vaccination was scheduled for April 5th. It did cause a large problem for us with regards to staffing across the GRCSU. And as you're aware of, as a result, we did make this decision to shift all schools to remote on April 5th. And Rutland Town, and talking with Debbie and Sarah, there were some staffing issues, obvious, as a result of the side effects and the impact of the vaccine. So Rutland Town went to remote on April 6th as well. Hopefully, like I said, the vaccines are, we're past that now, but I know there's been some discussion about what vaccines may look like next year in the fall. We don't have any information on that as of yet, but when we get that, I'll let you know and bring it up probably during the summer. The SBAC and the Vermont Science Assessment, which is the VTSA, the window this year has been extended from April 1st through the end of the year. So it's a little bit longer window, obviously taking into consideration what's going on this year and just trying to bring certain students back from remote to test. So Debbie and Sarah have been working with the staff and administrators on scheduling this. I do believe they've been sent out information to families with regards to what that schedule will look like, as well as to families who have their children who are remote, and a plan to bring them back in. So, but just a point of information, the SBAC is for ELA, it's grades at math, they're grades 3 through 9 are traditionally tested, and the Vermont Science Assessment is for grades 5 and 8, as well as 11, but that doesn't impact Rutland Town. Over the past few weeks, we have been working on the AOE Education Recovery Plan. You may have heard of it. This is something which is mandated. All districts and supervisory unions are expected to provide this plan. The plan is going to assist our schools, our districts, and our SU in charting a path is what education is going to look like this spring, next year, and the following years as well. It's going to assist our students with social emotional learning, their academics, as well as ensuring that all students will have an equitable access to a high quality education. Currently, we are finishing up with phase 1. Phase 1 is the initial needs assessment phase of the recovery plan. During this phase, we are collecting a lot of data, data that will allow us to make good decisions in terms of interpreting areas of student strengths, student concerns, areas of weaknesses or needs, develop some preliminary ideas as to how best to address these student needs, and support all our learners, as well as determine whether or not we will need state assistance in these areas. As I said before, there are, we talked about the social emotional, but there are 4 buckets that we call that we're looking to kind of break down the plan into. That's the social emotional learning, mental health and well-being, student engagement, truancy, and academic success. Once we've finished up with phase 1, which will be submitting that by the end of this week, we'll then begin working on phase 2, and phase 2 really is kind of like the action plan. This is where we start developing strategies in terms of what this will look like, obviously on a school basis, district basis, and SU basis. We'll start identifying resources and developing the steps we're going to take over the course of the spring throughout the next year to implement and evaluate the impact of these steps. As we move through this process, we will be sharing monthly updates with the board. But if there, you want more information or see where we're at, feel free to reach out to myself or to Lisa Madison. Finally, actually 3 more things, but as part of the recovery plan, we took a look at the spring, and as we looked at those 4 buckets, these social emotional, the mental health and well-being, academic success, and student engagement, and the decision was made as other supervisory unions to shift back to 5 days of in-person learning. And we know that this was very strong opinions and feelings with on all sides of this. But and look at the plan, we felt it was best to bring our kids back in for a 5th day. There'll be the 5th day will be the Wednesday. We'll be shifting to a half day in person. We did look at a 2 o'clock day, but we still have that remote option available for families. And so we felt that as we've been doing all year, that additional planning time for staff to plan, to collaborate, develop the lessons for both synchronous and asynchronous learning, we felt was still appropriate. But like I said, it will be good to get our kids back in 5 days. We do thank all of the families and the staff for their understanding and patience. But like I said, as we start to kind of work our way through the end of the year and start preparing for next year. In addition, we've all heard of Governor Scott's Vermont Forward Plan. And the reason I bring this up is because many families have been reaching out to myself, and I'm sure to Debbie and Sarah, as they look at steps 1, steps 2, and step 3, as well as July 4th, what that means for end of the year and graduation. As of right now, we're still waiting further guidance from the state in terms of what end of year activities and graduations may look like. Well, we know in looking at step 3, which is June 1st, that an outdoor graduation ceremony will be possible, that we can have, I do believe, up to 900 individuals on site for that. Obviously, we're still with mask and physical distancing will be required with outside of family pods. But Sarah and Debbie could talk a little bit more about that and what that may look like. There was some other guidance in the updated guidance, the strong and healthy starts, but it's more in terms of just looking at the health screens and shifting away from that and moving more towards just family-based decisions as opposed to school-based. Right. Draft copy of the GRCSU calendar for the 2021-2022 school year is included in your packets. It is also to be discussed later in the board meeting. And then finally, school meals were provided over April break. We will also be looking to continue school meals for all interested families over summer as well, similar to what we did last year. So when we have more information on that, Debbie and Sarah will be providing that for the families. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Chris, I just have one now. Summer break meals. Now, is that still being picked up by the state of Vermont or?
Yes. It was announced a while back that federal funding will be available for that. So
Okay.
we're happy to provide that to any interested family member.
Okay. Does anybody else on the board have any questions for Chris? Thank you, Chris. Co-principals report.
Hi, everyone. I want to start off with, it's not in our principals report. We were notified on April 8th that one of our 8th graders, Aaron Geisler, won second place in the region for the Hilding 2021 Lincoln essay. There were over 120 essays submitted by 8th graders from around the state. So she won $400. We are unable to publicize it at this time just because usually they have a wonderful celebration in person. They're doing something virtual this year, and she has to submit a video of her reading her essay. And then once that's posted on their YouTube site, then we can get a press release out. But I just wanted to thank and congratulate Aaron Geisler on that achievement. It's great. We've had almost every year, or the last couple of years, I have to say, we've had a Rutland Town student that's been in like the top 5, which is wonderful. So congratulations to Aaron. And since Debbie may only have one more co-principals report, I'm going to let her read this one.
All right, thank you. So we have our 4th graders were lucky enough to learn about some electrical circuitry with some help from Veep. They got some materials and teachers got some instruction, and then they worked with the students on that, and they really enjoyed it. We are having a reading competition in grades K through 5 using our Lexia software, and students complete certificates. And so far they've completed 379 of those certificates in grades K to 5. And we actually have 5 students that have completed the whole program and now are moving up to the 6th through 8th program. So we're constantly moving students up in that area. So the kids are having fun watching the graphs on the monitor weekly to see how they're doing and compared to other grades. We had a few families move back to remote learning for spring break because of the positive cases, but we expect them to return after, and we already have had some of them come back in the first couple of days. We've been working on completing interviews and reference checks for our open positions for next year. We had really good attendance for our parent, teacher, and student-led conferences. We had 91% of our students' families attend those remote conferences. And for some families, that might be one of the positives that we take out of this, that we might be able to continue that for some families who need it moving forward. Our report cards are going to be mailed home this week for K through 4, and middle school parents can look at their students' their grades online. And we want to congratulate James Kamuta. He's a 1st grader in Mrs. Prozo's classroom. He was recognized as a student of the month for the month of March. And we've been preparing for those SBAC tests. We have arranged for remote students to be tested separately on Wednesday afternoons. We have them coming in. Families have been notified by mail, and they will each receive a personal phone call from me tomorrow. So that just to remind them that that's happening. Lastly, we have from Building Matters, we have an update. There's a whole big report there from Kelly. He's actually coaching a softball game momentarily, but he's going to join us as soon as he can. And I don't know, Chris, if we'd be able to bump that back to a little later to new business so he can answer your questions about that report. Very thorough report, I should say. Is that okay with you, Lynette?
That's fine. We'll wait until he's available.
Okay.
And then I I didn't know if we could have Micro talk at this time, Lynette, if that's okay, just a little bit about athletics and what we're thinking for graduation.
Awesome.
Mike, you good to
Yeah,
go?
I'm here. I'm here. Good evening, all. How are you? So we have been talking extensively and trying to plan graduation as normal as can be, and obviously following all the guidelines. We've had some parent support. We're looking at doing an outdoor graduation out back of the school. Once we have a date for graduation, we can then go ahead and reserve the tent in case it's inclement weather. The goal is to practice social distancing with all of the guidelines. If everything stays according to plan, that's kind of what we're going to do. We would like to do and make it as normal as we have in the past. We have a very rich tradition of our graduation ceremony here at school. And we would like to continue with that, obviously following all of the guidelines. So as soon as we know the date of graduation, then we can quickly reserve the tent, have it put up, and then do all of our festivities that we normally do right out back. It'll be a great setting. And of course the tent jinxed it because I can't remember a day in 20 years that it's rained on graduation. So hopefully that will not happen to us. Does anybody have any questions as far as that's what we're planning middle school wise?
The only question I have, Mike, would be on, because of the distinct problem, unless you've got a really huge tent, as far as seating goes, I'm just worried about my our older parents or grandparents that may attend. Standing would be, it would be a little difficult for them. I'm just not sure how you're planning that.
Well, we're planning, it's kind of like bring your own chair. You're going to a little event like you're going to Art in the Park. The graduates will be under the tent. It's big enough. It's covering the basketball court out back. So we'll be able to fit the 40 kids plus or 40, whatever the number is, underneath that tent. And then the plan is to just have everybody spread out. We'll have speaker system and all of that so people can hear. It'll be essentially like if it's in the gym, you know, there's a certain distance away that you are, but it's more of a bring your own chair kind of thing. And we'll have law and order there so that it's not a free for all in that regard. So that's kind of our plan. And once again, this is new. So we'll be going through some hiccups as we go. And those are great questions to ask. You know, we might be able to have a drop off for the elderly grandparents, and then they can move their car back out to the front. So those are great suggestions.
And the only other thing you have now mentioned, I know the distancing. What about masks? Are they required?
Masks are required to the best of my knowledge. They will be required. I don't know unless Chris knows different with the family pod scenario. That would be up to whatever you guys set.
So, Mike, I think that's part of the guidance that we're waiting on. But in looking at the Vermont Forward Plan, Step 3 still has mask and physical distancing are required. When you move to Step 4, July 4th, that's when it says encouraged. But that wouldn't take place for our graduation. So as of right now, masks are be worn by all attendees. And they said, and we'll wait on further guidance from the state.
Okay. I just know with vaccinations, a lot of people are under the assumption, even though they've had both their shots or past the 2-week waiting period, that they don't have to wear masks. I just want to make sure that the residents know that you have to have the masks. You'll have to bear it. It's not comfortable. God bless the kids. They don't seem to mind, but we just want to make it the best graduation for the 8th graders that we can. So I prefer not, have to get in some kind of verbal altercation with someone for not wearing a mask.
Well, we'll have signs up and we'll have our resource officer there. We'll have people there to help, with questions. And I think, like you said, most people understand it. The kids have been actually fantastic about it, from my perspective, all year. And I'm actually very excited that we could potentially do it outside. I always thought it would be kind of cool to do outside. It's just we have a beautiful spot out back where it lends itself to that. So, I mean, Jeff, how many people do we normally pack in normally? You would know, Jeff. How many people are
Oh.
normally back in the building?
You know, there's usually anywhere from 400 to 500 people that go for graduation. I mean,
Yeah.
one of my thoughts I just had, Mike, is a lot of, you know, and I'm sure you guys have thought about this, a lot of colleges and that kind of stuff are only allowing like parents and grandparents to come. Should you limit the amount of people a student can have come?
We have had that conversation and we will continue to have that conversation. And that's a great conversation, but we have already talked about that as far as limits. We're going to wait to see how everything unfolds. It's going to be really fluid. We hope to give them more than enough notice because we want people to enjoy it. We have a beautiful space out back, so we have plenty of room to host
Oh, sure. Yeah.
people. So you might
Good
not
job,
get the
Michael.
bird's eye view, but you're there and you get the, you know, you get the gist of it, and you can have your picture afterwards with your significant other and your family. So
Don't be
yeah,
doing- Don't be doing any rain dances.
I'm not. I told you I jinxed it as soon as we brought a tent. It hasn't rained in 20 years, if I can remember correctly.
No, it's usually hot and
Graduation's
muggy.
It
Hot
is
and muggy.
always hot and muggy. Now it's just going to be anyway. We'll just keep good thoughts, positive thoughts. So that's our plan. And please, if you have any questions, I am by no means. I don't know. I just got to let them guess. So
I
just
do have just one more. Are we going to live stream it?
Oh yes, of course we are.
Well,
We
I'm
got
just
the
letting people
technology.
know so that they don't necessarily have to be in the backyard, that they could actually see it also.
Without a doubt. That's why we purchased what we did. And I'm so glad that we didn't, you know, the huddle part was great, but I'm so glad we did what we did because we can, as long as we are in range and we are Wi-Fi, we kind of already tested it. We can do anything live stream around our building. And that
That's
camera,
awesome.
if you saw those games, the camera and the quality was pretty intense. So
It was. It was.
that we will definitely live stream that. We're going to live stream our sports too. So
I know. I have watched a multitude of them between basketball, hockey. It just makes it a little harder trying to get snapshots while you're. But hey, I did pretty good. You know, and not as good as if you're in the stands, but yeah, it really was wonderful. It's mostly, you know, at least you get to watch them. So
yes.
and it is wonderful. Any other discussions with Mike?
Yeah, Lynette, last month, I think, Tina, you had a question about transportation for athletics, particularly around the $5,000. And we said that we would bring this back up at this meeting. So I think, well, Mike's here, if we could, and I started meaning to put you on the spot there, Tina, but.
Oh, I thought that I was looking at the report wrong in that the 5,000 was actually for field trips.
Right.
Correct.
I think
Right.
so. It was kind of answered for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good
Mike,
memory.
did you want to talk about the MOUs with the other schools?
Yeah,
Please.
sure. So, just, you know, an MOU is a memorandum of understanding that the VPA requires when, if you're not able to field a team or you have students that are interested in a sport that your school does not currently offer, you write one of those up and you do what's best for the student and allow them to play the sport that they choose. We usually have this in the spring, is our biggest time that we do this. So we have those arrangements. For example, we're taking in lacrosse kids. This year we had 8 kids from our school sign up. We have 4 from Christ the King, 2 from Barstow, and 1 from Otter Valley. And just so you know, for boys lacrosse, you need 10 on the field to play. So now we have a full fielded team. They follow all the guidelines. I also sent a blank MOU to you that you can look at. Sarah and Debbie can forward you that just to see what it's involved. So for boys lacrosse, that's working well for us. For girls lacrosse, we started with 12 from our school. 12 girls play at a time. For girls lacrosse, completely different, go figure. And so we would have no subs. I got a phone call the other day that Rutland City, lo and behold, has 4 kids in their middle school lacrosse program. So those 4 girls are coming to play on our team. They started tonight. And then we have 1 girl from Barstow. So that's great. We also have our baseball team for the first time, and I can't even remember, we have enough kids. So we are putting together a baseball team for our middle school. Last year, or not last year, but years before, we would have an agreement with Barstow and Christ the King, and they called it Barking Town, because all three towns were involved in providing a middle school team. And then last but not least, softball. We're at a magic number of 10 right now, and we have one student from Rutland Area Christian School who is playing to help make our team complete. So we're able to offer 4 programs for our athletes for the spring, which is fantastic. They need it beyond belief. And so that's what an MOU is. And we have those anytime that we are sharing facilities. For example, also we have 3 kids that are going to be running track for Rutland Middle School. So it goes both ways a lot of times. It's just not one way. It does go both ways. So just if you hear that, see that, we do have a plan in place. If for some reason we have too many, then we just do not accept the kids from the other town. It's basically how it goes. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, Mike, question. There's no money exchange though, right?
No, there's no money. I want to make this perfectly clear. With them joining us, there's no fee to them, but everything we have is already paid for. To play a game of lacrosse, we still have to pay the refs, whether or not they join our team or not. We still have to line the fields for the game, whether they join our team or not. So there's no expense that I've incurred to have them be on our team. I want everybody to clearly understand that. The great part is that we're able to offer these sports to our kids and then to other kids that in our area that would be shut out. And it's a great opportunity. The UPA allows that. And we just follow their guidance and their rules. So good question, Jeff. Yes, there's no money.
Okay, bringing up just because you're still on, Mike, I signed the agreement with the men's league to use the town school property again, the field.
Yeah.
There is $1,000 that is given to the Rutland Town school for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And they've always given us money. It just usually goes, I'm not sure where, but it goes in the budget somewhere. But
Yep.
So I just wanted to let you know that the agreement has been reached, and I reiterated to him the rules, regulations again, and especially with COVID, that he has to go through the health officer to ensure that everything is proper. So I just wanted to let you know in case you see him up there.
Yep. Jason's a good guy. He is from Rutland Town. His family is from Rutland Town. And he does a really nice job. Obviously last year there were a couple of bumps, but that was at the beginning of everything. So yep, we work together very well. So I'm glad he's back on board.
Yep.
That's great. He used to pay me $10,000 and now he only pays you $1,000. Something's wrong there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I think we're going to have to look back and see what happened, what you did with that 10. But anyways,
yeah, I'm kidding. Well, that was rec department. I'm kidding. It wasn't. So
he did change the name of the group this year for to honor his father, who he lost this past year with COVID.
Yep.
So it's just got a different title to the team, but it's the same team.
Yep, and that's great. Yep, he's a good man. He does a nice job.
Yeah, he is. Any questions on any of what you've just heard?
I have a question. I put my hand up, but nobody saw it.
Oh, now I see it. Now
Okay.
you took it down.
So I know that the basketball court at the school is in great disrepair, and I know that's on a list to be done at some point when we have the money. But my other question is, when are we going to put the hoops back up at Northwood so that the kids can start playing outside?
I ask that question to JP every single time I see him. He is our town health officer, and he is the one who's in control of whether or not they go back up. I would call him and ask him. I ask him every time, and he looks and he says not yet. And so I know that other towns have them up, but ours are not, and they will not go. And I hear it all the time, Tina. As soon as he says that, they will be up there within a couple of hours. So I would just ask him. It doesn't hurt. I mean, that's part of his job. And I asked him last Tuesday, and he said not yet. And I said, okay, I'll ask him next Tuesday.
And I will ask him when I see him.
Who is the health officer? Is
It's
it
John
John
Paul
Paul
Gagnon.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was just.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have used the last name. I apologize.
No worries.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Principals, do you have anything else?
Nope. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. When you were saying all the students were coming back, does that mean that there's no more remote students?
No.
That
No.
everybody has to,
No, the students that have been fully remote, a few of them are starting to come back, but not all of them.
okay,
And I
so
don't
there's,
expect they all will, but there are some that will come back before the end of the year.
We've
Okay.
kept that open, Jeff, to the end of this year at least. And I don't think,
Okay.
Chris, if we've made a decision on next year yet, correct?
There's no finality, but as of right now, we will not be offering a remote option for next year. We'll be back to in-person learning as we normally would. So,
Okay.
I know that's a little tougher on the teachers. That's why I was asking to see
Yep.
when that was going to happen.
All right. Moving on, contract recommendations. And you have got a handout that was given to you. I guess somebody needs to talk about, Sarah, I see you're on the list. Who is Eric?
Yeah. So Eric Gross has joined us this evening. We are recommending him to be the new assistant principal of Rutland Town School. A little bit about Eric. He grew up in Vermont, in Barrie, and attended Barrytown and Spalding. He went to Champlain College, University of Vermont, and Castleton University before moving to Pennsylvania for a few years, and then eventually came back to Vermont, married with 2 children. He's in his 8th year of teaching English at high school and college level. He has 4 degrees, an associate's in law enforcement, a bachelor's degree in business, a master's degree in education, and a second master's in educational leadership. He taught middle school English, high school English, and then again college. He enjoys a lot of fitness, hiking, biking, fishing, farming, and he's really excited to come to Rutland Town.
Welcome, Eric. And if everybody, he is up on the screen if you've got your computer up. Eric, did you want to say anything?
Just thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Can't wait to meet you in person. Hopefully that'll also change towards the end of the school year here. And we can go back in person, especially when the kids are no longer in the school. We wouldn't be putting them at risk. So it's a lot easier to have an in-person meeting than it is the Zoom. I really can't stand this, but welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so on your handout, now Sarah and Eric, I guess I'll have to talk to Chris at some point. So did you need anything voted on tonight, Chris?
I think we may have to go into executive session to discuss salaries and come out with some salaries tonight. I have some
Okay.
numbers for the board to discuss.
Okay, yep. And I noticed extracurricular is on here. I did reach out to each of the board members and they approved those. So we can just verbally approve them after executive session also. All right, so we'll hold off on this until executive session. Vacancies, I see we have 1 resignation.
Do we have another recommended contract in here?
Yes.
It's,
There
yes,
should be a
it's listed.
third.
It's listed under your name and Eric's name, Sarah, for
Right.
our guidance counselor position.
Yeah, I didn't read them all off because we got to go in executive session, so,
Gotcha,
Okay.
sorry.
okay. So we have a notice of resignation that we received from Janet Casarino. Janet was not with us this year. She had taken a leave of absence and now is requesting to resign at the end of this school year. Does anybody have any motion on that?
I make a motion to accept Janet's resignation.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Vacancies, I didn't see any, so I assume we're okay on our vacancies.
Yes,
And we don't have a leave request, correct?
correct. That should not be on there.
Okay. I don't have anything for the chair's report. I'm just so proud of our school and teachers, the community as a general. As far as the COVID goes, daily I hear about acquaintances that have COVID or still getting COVID as of yesterday. Even though the vaccinations, Rutland County has been very, very good at signing up for them, and everybody has their own choice, and I understand them all about not feeling like they want them yet. I know they're looking at Pfizer, Moderna people getting boosters in the fall, which right now they're talking about, I think it's a combination COVID booster and flu. So instead of just going to get a flu and then go get a COVID, it'll be the same shot from what I hear. But I think that's it. Of course, Johnson & Johnson is still up in the air. So I know a lot of people are still waiting for that to reopen. I don't know. Personally, I just say go get the other one and get it over with. They're talking about students, of course, 16 and above can sign up now. They are talking about lowering that to, Pfizer anyways, is talking about lowering that to age 12 and above before school starts. So next year could look very, very different for us. It is, as the CDC and everyone starts learning more and more about how the vaccines really interact, then we can maybe get new guidelines. I know that people that have had their shots and passed the 2-week can get together and not have to wear masks. But I know even at town hall, the police department, we have all had our shots, both shots since February. When we're in the office together, we will not wear the mask. When we're outside the office, we wear them. Just to be on the safe side, we don't want to infect anybody. I don't believe the girls in the office have had their shots yet, maybe one. But we still have outsiders coming in to do research. So we always, we're very diligent about wearing our masks when we step out of the office. So hopefully we'll see how it washes out, but I really am kind of optimistic about next year. I know myself personally, tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, I'm on my way to Maine to see my granddaughter. I haven't seen them in a year and a half. And I am just thrilled to pieces to be able to go visit. So, things are opening up and getting a little more optimistic. Anybody else have anything to say before we move in? I really don't have anything for the chair's report tonight. Oh, you guys are so quiet. Okay, we'll move on to policies. Tonight would be the approval of these policies, correct, Chris?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. In your packet, the second reading of Title I, which is quite lengthy. That's, I think, a 3 or 4 part document. This is, again, like I said, the second reading. I don't believe we've ever had any questions on any of them from the public or from different board members throughout the supervisory union. The second one is D5, the alcohol and drug-free workplace. The third one tonight is D as in David 6. It's the drug and alcohol testing for transportation personnel. And we have, the last one is F5, which is students, drug and alcohol. Does anyone have any questions on those policies, changes? Hearing none, if I could have a motion, we could do them separately, or perhaps we can just read the titles of the H5, D5, D6, and F5 for approval.
I make a motion to pass H5, D5, D6, and F5.
Thank you, Billy. Any discussion on the policies? All in favor?
I
Aye.
had a discussion. I just had a question about the Title I policy.
Yes.
On, I think it was, I'm just trying to find it. Page 3, it says it's a sample school district parental involvement compact. Is that what we are basing ours on, or is it just a sample? I wasn't really quite clear why that was in there.
So my understanding is the VSBA gives like recommended policies. And so what you will do is you'll just kind of copy and paste. But what people do when they copy and paste them, they don't delete certain items. And I think this is just a remnant of that. So as we update this policy and put it in, we can delete that from there. But because this
Good
is straight
catch.
from
It
the
went through all the
VSBA.
committee. Good catch. All through the committee, all through first reading. And Tina finds it. Any other discussion? All in favor of
I just-
approving the,
On that,
oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay. I'm sorry. I just had a lot to say. It was a very long,
It is, that one is.
and I like the idea of it. I just was wondering like how it's really going to be implemented. I'm trying to picture what that would look like and if it's really worth making a policy about it at this point until we know how we could actually make it happen.
Chris,
But
do you?
it is
Okay.
required by the state for us to have this policy in place. And what we can do for the next board meeting, if you want, Tina, is Lisa Mattis and myself can present as terms of what this looks like, because it should be present in our handbooks. It really is just basically more just, creating engagement between the school and parents and families. And there are certain steps for this. And we're actually building a plan out as required by the state. So we can bring an update in terms, and the policy basically mandates that we have to do that.
I think it's great. It's just, I would like to see it in motion, I guess, because I don't feel like we've done that yet. So is this a new policy completely, or is this something that we've had and?
We've had this in place for a while now, so.
Okay.
Right, and I think that was one of the things as we were going through policies and as we went through the audit with the state, there are things that he said that we're not doing, the school district that we should be doing. That's what we're currently revising and revamping. So we can kind of bring what this will look like at Rutland Town, if you like, to the next board meeting, Tina.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so you want to hold off on that? Was that your request, Tina?
This is only a first reading anyway, right?
No. This is the second reading. Would be, yeah.
I'm okay with it. I mean, if it doesn't matter to hold it off until we see it, what their plan is in action, I think that's fine. And plus I don't think it should have any errors on it either for us to finally approve it.
Okay, we can do that. Chris, Billy, you made a motion for all of them. Do you want to revise that and wait on the H5?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pass D5, D6, and F5.
Thank you. We can wait on that. This one took us a long time in committee. The actual first draft that came from the state was even more cumbersome. So, yeah, if you want to bring that back, Chris, at the next meeting with Lisa.
Sure,
And
and I just want to, I mean, it is a bit of a formality. Like this is something that's mandated by the state that we have to have in place for our school. So we will, we have to, like tomorrow, we still will continue working with the Title I part A. We have to have this in place. So that's what we're working with. So we'll bring it back to the next month to be formally approved by the board. That's fine. But like I said, it's one it's a working document. It's
Right.
It's like sexual harassment or discrimination. Those are things which, as we can go through it, we still have to do these things that we have to do. So I just wanted to clarify that.
No problem. Is there any problem waiting for formal approval next meeting?
No, that's fine, because
Okay.
we'll be approving just what's going to go in our manual. The actual document is what, but the spirit, will still be, we have to do.
Okay.
The intent behind this.
I'm looking at Tina and don't see a hand up. I've been really neglecting you tonight. Anything else?
No, thanks.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. Old business? I don't think we have anything. We really haven't started a whole lot because we just went through the reorganization, so we haven't had time. New business. Okay, we talked about, well, I would like to bring the transportation athletic discussion back up. Nothing that has to be done right away, Chris, but before we start doing the budget next year, at least have a discussion on what it may look like cost-wise if we did have transportation for our athletic teams. Because it's been so long now, I can't remember what the costs were. Graduation, we had gone through that and we'll, I'm sure, get an update next meeting. The Gerksu calendar, very colorful, by the way. I really don't have anything. Anybody have any comments on the calendar?
I'll make a comment.
Sure.
I like it. I like that they've switched to Wednesdays as the early dismissal day. I think it'll be a good transition for the kids, and maybe it worked well for the teachers too.
Mhm.
And then I also liked how, and I don't know if we're just following Rutland City or we're trying to guess what the state kind of mandated calendar will be about the 4-day weekend in October instead of having that just one in-service day. I thought it was nice that we're recognizing the Indigenous Peoples Day. And I think that was all my comments.
So, and Tina, you're right. Stafford basically sets like a regional calendar that Rutland City, GRCSU, Slate Valley, Mill River, RNSU, and the Bennington, Arlington area that we kind of follow. So you will see a lot of similarities, but there was a lot of discussion around the Indigenous Peoples Day that weekend. So, thanks.
Also, when we send this out to parents, is it going to have it noted which are the half days? Because I didn't see that. I know that it says parent-teacher conferences, but for new like kindergarten parents and new people to our school, I think it would be helpful just to make sure that that's noted somewhere on there.
I'll speak with Christine McGinnis tomorrow, and we'll make that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussions? Okay. The next meeting will be May 10th, and it will be a Zoom meeting. Okay, executive session. May I have a motion to go in executive session for personnel?
I'll make the motion to go into session for personnel.
Thank you, Billy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
How about the other three of you?
Yeah, I raised my hand, but I'll say aye.
Yeah, aye.
I'm sitting here listening for 4 and I didn't hear them. Okay, so we're out of executive session. We are still on the topic of professional staff. I'm going to skip the first two and go with motion for Catherine Kate Daly. She's going to hopefully be our new guidance counselor.
I motion to approve her contract as stated.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Russ, Billy?
Yeah, I said aye.
Yep, I said
Oh, I
aye.
didn't. I gotta watch your mouse, I guess. Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, let's go with contract for Sarah for next year as principal. If I could have a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve Sarah's contract as principal for next year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I just have,
Aye.
do we need to state the amount or
No.
is it just going to be printed
As recommended.
as recommended? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Eric, you want to work with us?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do I have a motion for Eric?
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve Eric's contract.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I'm sure, Eric, we don't normally give the amounts, but someone will get in touch with you. How's that? Okay. And welcome aboard. We'll try not to,
Thank you very much.
we'll try not to kill you the first year. Okay,
Thank
we
you, sir.
have, the next on is Megan Martell.
I motion to approve as stated in the document.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because she's got some leave coming. Do I have a second for that? Oh, I'm
Second.
sorry. Don't need a second. Any discussion?
You almost made it, Lynette.
No, you weren't on. When I opened the meeting, the very first thing I did was goof up, but that's so twice tonight. Pretty good though. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We go down to support staff. We have Shauna, who is our board recording secretary. Her contract. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve Shauna's contract as
Thank
stated.
you. Thank you, Billy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and we have interim union support staff contracts. And I believe we can do those in one shot. We can just say to approve those as posted. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the interim union support staff contracts.
Thank
as
you, Billy.
stated.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you. And then the other one, last one is our coaching staff. We had discussed this earlier, through individual contact. We have a baseball coach, boys lacrosse coach, and girls lacrosse coach. Do I have a motion for those?
I have a motion to approve those as stated.
Thank you, Tina. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, I guess that brings us back to,
That brings us
Yes.
back to the maintenance report, Lynette.
yes, it does.
He was on the bus on the way home. He texted me a little while ago. I told him to join us, but I'll try and answer your questions as best he can. And if he can't get here, maybe he can come the next time and chat
I
with
was
you.
gonna
But
say, is
it's
it
pretty
better that we-
extensive.
Is it, yeah, it is very extensive. Is it better that, because I'm sure we're gonna have questions, is it better that we wait until next meeting when he's available?
Well, we do kind of need to know about the landscaping piece.
Okay.
The HVAC and the lighting and the solar update are fine, but we're he's been looking at the possibility of bringing some of the mowing back to our staff at this point. And right now we do have a tractor, but it's older. And
Yep.
he was looking at and wondering if we might be able to purchase a new tractor. And he's got some bids or quotes there. And we can use the attachments from the town, would let us borrow attachments on different things that we might need. That might be helpful to have around the school. And they could even do some of our smaller plowing around, like in between the buildings there, that's getting torn up from the big trucks trying to come through. So he was looking at that as a possibility and wondering what you all thought about that, and being able to take over some of our mowing out back that we could do ourselves in-house, in trying to, curb our costs and, address the needs that happen on a day-to-day basis.
I would generally, and this is just myself, I'm not speaking as a chairman right now. I would generally go along with that anytime we can save money. However, my concern is the maintenance of where we cleared out. Within a year or two, the shrubbery and everything is going to be back up. I'm not sure how we're going to keep that down. So I don't know. I mean, if we have time when our staff is able to go out and just try to maintain that, whatever, instead of lawn mowing, I personally would think that would be a better idea. I'm just a little worried that it's all going to start growing up again. And we don't want to go through, what we did to get it to look like it does. And it is awesome.
Yeah.
So there may be some equipment that's needed to do that type of work. I'll go ahead and open it up. Jeff, I'm going to go around backwards this time. Go ahead.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. Well, first of all, the mower that we have, is that mower running?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yep.
And so I have to say, for 27 years, 28 years, I took care of the mowing myself. So I have no doubt that Kelly can handle doing all of the mowing that needs to be done around the property. And I am in favor of a new mower. And I am in favor of a John Deere mower, so that we have a quality piece of equipment. It's capable of taking attachments from all of the other towns' equipment, and we can maintain it right here at a Rutland Town business. I'm not sure where the money is going to come from, but I feel as though that this is something that should be done by the staff. And they're definitely, I really think that they can handle this, all of the yard work that needs to be done on the property. So,
Okay. I just noticed Kelly just popped in, so let's
There he
grab
is.
him before we lose him again. Kelly, hi. You're
You might
muted.
have to unmute, Kelly.
Yep, I just got on
There
my
you go.
phone. I'm in my truck.
Okay, what we were discussing, Kelly, was the landscaping first, because we weren't sure if we were going to have you for the meeting. The landscaping, and you had wanted a new tractor for mowing. Of course, budget's always concerned where the money would come from. And the money that, I don't know if the money we were paying out would cover this new tractor. But also, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on where we had cleared this year, how to keep that growth down.
Well, I think having the right tractor with a sickle or something like that could definitely help. And you can always rent the attachments. So, keeping that clean. Also, we have a bunch of honeysuckle that we got to cut out because that's a growth for ticks we found out. So we've got a bunch on the small fields, and again, having the tractor could definitely help with that.
Okay. Are we on schedule? While you brought up ticks, are we on schedule for the spraying for those again around the edges?
Yeah, we're doing a drag right now to see what we have. We're seeing where we have a problem with all that cut back. It may be, cutting some of that honeysuckle or barberry out of there might, help with that altogether.
Okay.
So we're waiting for a dry. I tried to drag today, but it was too wet. So
Yeah.
waiting for it to dry up a little bit.
Okay.
And Kelly, about paying for the tractor, you want to talk about what your kind of plan to do that?
Well, the thought in that is, it's not like we have to pay for it all up at once. We, if we did a lease or not even a purchase over 3 years or 4 years, you would get it for what, $5,000-$6,000 with the lease, and then, maybe you could, save a little money that way, so it's not all coming out at once.
Have we got that 5,000 or 6,000 in the budget?
Well, it depends because right now I think we have 12,500 that we typically pay out or we typically keep for lawn care, and if that balances out, we should have that in there.
Now you would be able to keep up with the entire lawn care?
Oh, absolutely. Every school system I've been at, we've done the lawns, and especially with 2 people on during the day, you can have one stay inside and one go outside and take care of the lawns. Because
Okay,
it's not
Chris,
going to take you hours.
Okay, Chris, if I could ask you, I know that we enter into contracts, leasing contracts without any approval needed from residents. But there's that thin line of what we're not supposed to indebt the town. But is there any problem with us leasing a tractor? Why is that different than the leases on the copiers?
I don't see, I had to double check with Lewis, but I know that we're looking at leasing like driver's ed vehicles and things along those lines. So I don't potentially see a problem, but I had to double check with Lewis about that.
And this might be different because it's not a strict lease, it's a purchase over time.
Yeah.
It's a different,
Right.
we don't give it back at the end.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jeff, you can continue.
Yeah, so just talking about that, if they got the 12,500 a year, 2 years the tractor's paid for. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, how you doing?
2 years the tractor's paid for, and then from then on, we're saving money. It's like when we bought the tractor many years ago. I did all the mowing, all the trimming, and we saved the taxpayers a huge amount of money every year. So
The only thing is
to me-
I wouldn't use, I think, the whole expense, the 12,500, because you're going to need to be renting equipment or whatever to go with it. So maybe, a 3 or 4 year would be better.
I
Just
agree.
figure out what the payment would be, I guess, and what the payment would be, and as long as it's under, 10 grand, which is going to be, because that's half the price of the tractor.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
it's going to save the taxpayers money.
Billy.
I completely agree too.
Okay. Russ?
Yeah, if it's going to save, sorry, if it's going to do 3 things at once, I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Well, that's why I called you next.
That's why you called on me, I know. Just like back when I was in school. If it's going to save the taxpayers money, then I would say that that's something that we should be doing. Kelly's capable and willing and able to do it, and why wouldn't we?
Awesome. Tina?
Kelly, I wanted to thank you for such a detailed report that you gave us. I felt like I really had a good sense of what you were planning, your vision. And I love the idea of you taking ownership of doing the landscaping. I think it will save money. I definitely think getting a new tractor that is has more options for even putting the plow on it and getting into the walkways instead of messing up the pavement, all of those things. And it sounds like you might be able to kind of cover it with a long loan and make it doable with what we have. Plus, having our staff do it, they'll take more pride in their work and, you know, be able to do what we want as a school community instead of having, you know, hiring others that don't always have the same vision and pride in what we do. So, thank you for your diligence, and I definitely agree.
Well, I think it would save money, but I mean, the company we had, right? I know they did a great job.
Oh, they did.
I just think in the long term, you know, it could benefit multifaceted with wood chips and everything else. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they did a poor job. I just think that when you can do it yourself, it's definitely going to be good. That's all.
Louis, we tore you away from your ball game. So sorry.
That's okay. I just got home a little while ago.
Okay. We were just discussing about the legality if the board has the right to go ahead and purchase a new lawn tractor over time without, that I don't believe it falls into the category of indebting the town, but.
Are you looking to purchase it outright in one year?
No, we're looking at maybe a 3 or 4 year lease or rental or to pay it off.
Oh, finance. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I think you just have to keep it under 5 years. We've done it in the past.
Yep.
And we'll just need to, because it's over 15,000, I'd imagine we'll need to just shop around and get 3 competitive quotes.
I have those 3.
And we do have those 3 in the list. Should we talk about the quotes, people? I agree with Jeff. Of course, being a farmer, John Deere's always been a favorite. But how about you, Billy, Russ, or Tina?
I agree with the John Deere.
Sorry, go ahead, Billy.
No, I agree with the John Deere. I trust Jeff and Kelly's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to micromanage what kind of tractor we buy. So whatever you guys think is the best tractor to buy that tractor.
You can.
Then just for the record, I just had Mike look up the landscape contract. It's $6,000.
Okay.
Not $12,500.
Okay.
No, that's what we have in the budget. So.
Yeah. Okay. Tina?
Just making sure, because I thought to myself, wow, when did we start charging you guys $12,000? I couldn't sleep tonight if that was the case.
Oh, yeah.
So I just sent him a message and said, tell me how much that contract is for, because there's no way it's $12,500.
Is John
Now I
Deere
feel so much better. Now I'll sleep good.
Oh, good.
is John Deere the only local option?
Thinking, holy moly.
No, I tried to get a hold of Town Line, but they never gave a quote back. So I did Champlain Valley Equipment for the Kubota. And then I did Mountain View for the John Deere. And then I spoke with Rich from Poultney, and he got one over in New York. And that's where the New Holland was quoted from. Okay. So, I mean, Mountain View is local.
Right.
I love supporting local too. So even if it costs a little bit more, I think it's worth it in the long run.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to purchase the John Deere tractor.
For a period of up to 4 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Could it be up to 5?
I'm sorry, what's that, Tina?
Could it be up to 5? Is what?
It could be, yeah. I hate to go out that long, but it's up to you guys.
I think 4 is good.
That's fine.
What is the cost you're looking at?
It was like 20.5 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20,100 for the John Deere. Out of the
I think it
3
makes
quotes.
sense.
I'm sorry, what, Tina?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I think it makes sense. I would agree.
Russ? I know you don't care.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, I'm not gonna get in the beans of picking which one of the tractor he gets. He can pick his own tractor. I'm good with it.
Okay. No other discussion? All in favor of purchasing?
I had a quick question.
Yep.
Was that the one that you picked?
Oh, the John Deere is definitely, I think,
Okay.
a better one. Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, with no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else specifically that you need from us, Kelly, tonight? And I thank you. That is a really in-depth. And I'm sure on the HVAC, whatever, you're working with Lewis to see what kind of funds or grants we can get, or,
We're still waiting. We were just trying to be proactive, knowing that it is out or going to be out there. So we'll see what we get. We did get a quote back. I just got it back on what it would take to finish everything else off.
okay. And Lewis, earlier we had discussed, Tina had brought up the approximate $30,000 that we had spent on COVID expenses. Is that anything we can expect recovery on, or any part of it?
I think it was maintenance at the SU level. I was just curious, was that COVID related or not? Because if it's COVID related, I understand why we were 30,000 over budget. But if it wasn't, I was curious what it was.
This was on the Rutland Town expense report that you
Yes, it was on the last page, or page 3 or something. I have to find it again.
Okay, give me a second to find that.
No problem.
Sorry, I was muted. Kelly, did you have anything else you wanted to talk to us?
No, I think that was perfect.
It's on
I-
page 4, Lewis.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Who's talking? Me?
Yep.
Okay, Kelly. Yeah, I actually have quite a few questions about the air quality report.
Is that something, Jeff, you can talk with him separately
sure.
about?
Oh, sure. I can come in and meet or whatever.
Okay, yeah, you can't go in and meet, but you can also, I mean, you can call him or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I can call. Yep.
Okay, yeah, just so that the meeting, we have 4 minutes for me to hit my deadline.
Okay.
Chris likes it when I hit my deadline.
Okay. Got to keep him happy.
So I do see the 30,000 you're referring to. I'd like to look into the details of that, and I can get back to you in an email tomorrow. I don't want to guess off the top of my head, and it'll take me a few minutes to pull the details.
Thank you.
So I can send you details tomorrow.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great, okay. Okay, who wants to make the adjournment motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I would be a wise guy and ask for a second, but that's okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
7:57, Chris. I made it.
Nice job, Lynette. I'm impressed.
All in favor? Aye. You guys have
Have
a
a
good
safe
night.
trip, Lynette.
Thanks.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Fine.